Hello there everyone, the Jedi Brick here, and today I'm reviewing LEGO Star Wars set 75402, the ARC-170 Starfighter. This set came out on January 1st, 2025, and I am very late to reviewing this set. I do apologize about that. This set retailed for $70 when it first came out, but nowadays you can find it for about $50 on sale and on clearance at Target and Walmart, Amazon, places like that. It's really not going to be full price anywhere but the official LEGO website. It has 497 pieces, 3 minifigures, and 1 astromech droid. And this is taking place during Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, or I guess you could argue it takes place in that like 1 second scene of the last season of the Clone Wars. We have Plo Koon's Star Shuttle Starfighter down there, which also became Microfighter earlier this year, and they are on the planet of Cato Mainoidea, just like we saw during the Order 66 scene of the Revenge of the Sith movie. On the front of the box, I really don't think it gives the ARC-170 justice, but we'll talk more about that later with the size of the box. It's this newer, I guess, size of the box, where it's a lot smaller. It's much more of a rectangular shape. It's a lot longer than it is taller, and I believe that is just to save on cardboard and everything, be a bit more eco-friendly, all that great stuff. I don't really have an issue with that. It just looks so small here on the box. It looks very tiny, and of course, a parent or like a kid seeing this on shelves for $70, like, wow, $70, that's a really small thing you're getting for $70. It is a lot bigger in person, and I'll talk more about that when we actually look at the ship. The 3 minifigures we have here are Oddball, Jag, and just a clone pilot, and R4. So a pretty solid minifigure selection here. They didn't really put anything extra in here, which I think is fine for what this set is. I don't think it really needed a fourth minifigure, especially since we already got that Plo Koon. But anyways, taking a look at the back of the box here, you have it in what looks like a hangar bay. You can see the minifigures working on the ship, loading the missiles, just in the cockpit, hanging out there. You can see the primary play feature as well as how the wings fold out into attack position, and also the spring-loaded shooter there. Enough about the box though, let's take a look at those minifigures. So here are the 3 minifigures of the set. We have, starting from left to right, we have Pilot Oddball, Jag, and then just a basic clone pilot. Now these minifigures are all the same except for their helmets, which I think are really cool. I believe these are brand new molds for the helmets, and they just look really good. I love the printing on the sides and on the top. I think they did a really good job with these. I think they look great. I really don't have any comments. Some people kind of wish the visors were molded on there, which I don't really agree with. I think they look fine as is, kind of like what they do with the X-Wing helmets for the original trilogy. I don't think they needed a whole mold just for the visor. I think that looks good as it is. So like I said, that's the only difference between all of these minifigures is just a different helmet printing. And yeah, I think the helmet printing looks really good. We do get some new faces under there. We get 3 of these newer clone trooper faces, which I think is really cool. It would have been cool if like they gave them an alternate face, maybe with like the visor halfway up, kind of like we get with the X-Wing pilots and everything. But I do think that is cool that they gave us a new print nonetheless. No alternate face on there or anything, but the back printing on all these minifigures is really cool. Just a lot of detail on there. Some people are saying that they should have gotten dual molded legs, which I can see why, but I also don't think it's that important that they got dual molded legs. I think the printing that we got looks fine. But again, dual molded legs really never hurt, so I can definitely see where people are coming from with that. I like the print on the oxygen tubes there. I think they look really good. I'm actually just going to take these other 2 off since they're all the same minifigure. But yeah, the printing on there is really nice. I think it is very high quality. I think it looks great. I have no issues with these figures. So the last quote-unquote minifigure we have here is R4P44, and this is a brand new astromech droid for this set. I believe this is exclusive still, but this is a really nice looking astromech droid. It is in this dark green color primarily. It's really hard for it to show up on camera for some reason. Maybe if I turn one of the lights off. Well, that didn't really do a whole lot. Getting the light like shining directly on it, you can see the dark green color on the dome. I think it looks really good. I think the printing for the head is excellent. It's got like that dark gray on there as well. My one issue is no back printing. I've said this before with the Ahsoka's Starfighter or Interceptor review with the droid in that set as well. There's no back printing on these droids. We got it for Chopper, we got it for R2. I was really thinking that would be the new standard going forward with droids, that we would always get back printing on them, but I guess that's just not the case. with these one-off droids, which I think is really disappointing because $70 was the original price point for this set, and it really wouldn't have cost them anything more really to put on back printing for this droid. I know a lot of people aren't going to see it or really care, but I think that is just something really important, especially since they've done it before and we know it's possible. They're just kind of refusing to do it. But with all that other stuff said, this is a pretty standard droid. It's just R2D2 with dark green instead of blue. Literally, the printing is pretty much the exact same. But I do think it is a nice droid. I think it's cool to get droids in different colors other than just R2D2 over and over again. So this is a really cool droid for my collection. Okay, and here is the main build, the ARC-170. You don't get any side builds. You don't get anything else. This is what you get. The ARC-170, and I think this is a really good model of the ARC-170. We haven't gotten one since, I believe, 2010, and this is a massive improvement since that last one. And like I said earlier, the size of this, I think this is a really good size for an ARC-170. You know, that's what it is compared to a minifigure, and it just looks so much smaller on the box. They really scaled it down, and I've noticed this issue with other LEGO Star Wars sets that are coming out, where they use these smaller boxes, and they have these smaller pictures on them as well. And it really just does not do the sets they're advertising justice because they look so small. And I think that is going to deteriorate like a lot of people and like make people not want to buy this set because it just looks so small on the packaging. I think that is a huge issue that LEGO should address, and just like overall like the scaling presentation on the boxes, because that is a main like contributor to whether people would buy something or not, like seeing it on the shelves. So moving on from the size bit here, this is just a really impressive model. I think this is very well constructed. I think it is very sturdy. You can't really hold it from the wings. I mean, you can. You just really shouldn't because they're just super flimsy. The wings, the main wings, I should say, are just held on by these black Technic pins right on the main side. There really isn't a whole lot holding them together. But I do think that is fine. It's not going to come off during play unless you directly pull it off. But if you are going to pick up and handle this thing, I really recommend doing it from the back, like fingers on the underside as well. I think that is the best way and like the way they intended for this to be held. So definitely don't be holding it from these side wings because those are just really only attached by a few studs, and like they're only like 3 plates thick, maybe 2 plates thick. So those are really not meant to be supporting the whole main structure of the wings. But I'm actually going to start off and show you guys the underside of this ship. This is something I really don't do a lot of in my reviews, showing you guys what's underneath, just because I don't really think it's super necessary, but for this one I do. They put some detail on here with the underwings, which I think is great. I didn't think they would, honestly. They wouldn't put stickers on there or anything, but I'm glad they did. My main issue with a lot of these stickers is the colors of the dark red really don't match. Like the overall color of like the normal dark red, like that is a lot darker. I think this is like closer to a reddish brown rather than the dark red that we're used to getting. So the colors on that sticker specifically with all of these stickers, it really just doesn't match, and I don't like that about that set. I think that would have been just an easy fix just to get it the right shade. But other than that, you can kind of see a bit of the main structure, and this is very sturdy. You can hold it from the nose, bend it, like shake it and everything. It's almost all Technic in there, so it's not really going to go anywhere. You have this main plated area, and underneath there is the structure, like for the main mechanism, which is the S-foils, which I think they did a great job with. I believe on the previous model of the ARC-170, it relied on rubber bands, kind of like the old X-Wings did. And I am so glad they've moved away from that, because those rubber bands can get stretchy over time. Like they'll stretch and they just won't move as well as they used to. So they found a way to make it all Technic based, which I think is great, especially in 2025, how we've kind of evolved past those rubber bands. But if I just push on this piece right here, this Technic beam, you'll be able to see these gears and everything move just a little bit, and that just makes the wings go up and back down. And you can just do this all day. It's not going to get stuck. It's not going to get jammed. The construction of that was super easy as well. Sometimes with these Technic bits in there with all the moving parts, they can get really complicated. But this one, the build was really, I don't want to say simple, but it was really easy to follow. It wasn't super challenging. It was just really easy to put together, I guess. But flipping this over to the main side, this is what people will primarily be seeing and what is going to be displayed. The ARC-170 looks really good. I like the colors, I like the designs, I like how smooth like this area is, like how they got the shape. I think that looks really good. They use a sticker right here, which I think is fine. I don't think that really needed to be a print, but three places where they needed prints are on these cockpit pieces. What are we doing, Lego? This is a $70 set. $70. And they still won't print things on cockpits most of the time. We know we can do it. We've seen them do it on sets before, so we know it's possible. Just having these clear stickers is just beyond frustrating on sets like this. $70, like I keep saying. I think that really just needs to be hammered home. That this is a $70 Lego set, and part of the... There we go. The stud shooter fell off. But that really needs to be printed. These took me so long to make sure I got right, and I think I did a alright job on there. I mean, some of the pieces, like parts and stuff, still look a little wonky, but like there's like these weird air bubbles and stuff. Come on, Lego, just for the love of God, print on the windscreen pieces. It's something that everyone will get behind. It'll just be so much easier for the consumer, for the builder. Like, it's all net positives in my opinion. But anyways, moving on from that, we do have three cockpit places or spaces, I guess, and they are all pretty spacious. I don't hate the designs for any of these. I think they are really well done. So we have the main one here, probably the most spacious one here, is for the main pilot. That's where Oddball will go. He just sits in there, very nice. And he's got one of those pieces right there where his legs kind of slide in. He can't really reach the control panel or anything, but I think that's fine. I kind of wish they would give him like a joystick or something to hold on to, but they didn't do any of that stuff. And then we have the next seat here, the co-pilot seat, and that's where Jag sits. And the two seats here for the pilot and the gunner are pretty much exactly the same. You just have four studs to put them on. You have to lean them back pretty much all the way. If they're any farther, like the hands kind of interfere. And that whole section just snapped right off. But that's alright, it just goes right back on there. So you kind of have to bend them back so the elbows kind of go into those cheese slope areas right there. And then finally we just have the unnamed clone pilot. He goes right in the back there. And I should mention, you do kind of have to put the droid in first, because he does kind of get blocked by the helmets and stuff, and you end up knocking some pieces over. So that he just goes in there. That piece fell off, but that goes right back on there. You close that up, and the droid's just kind of peeking out from there. I'm not a huge fan of how they stuck the droid in there. I think that could have been done a lot better, but you know, I think that's something I could mod potentially if I wanted to. We do have some more stickers here on the sides, and I do like the sides of this. I think it is very smooth looking. I like the overall shape of it. We have some more on the back here. In my head canon, these are like proton torpedo things. Like, that's what the hole is. Like, that's just kind of my story on it, I guess. But you can see the clone gunner right there, and you have the two ball turrets right here where you can move them around on their own, so they're not going to be caught up on each other. They can move them separately, which I think is really cool. And then we have the engine thrusters right there in the dark, or the bright purple, or I guess that's more of a pink. So if I move this up and zoom out just a little bit, you guys can see the S-foils kind of pop out, which I do think is really cool. Again, that's such a neat feature that they figured out how to do without adding any of the spring or the rubber bands. You do get a lot of the Technic pieces showing on top there, but I'm willing to give that a pass just because of what they were able to do, again, which I think is really cool. On the wings here, they have the same build for the little S-foils as they were on the bottom. Some really nice dark red on the ends there, and you do have a spring-loaded shooter on either end of the big wings. I do think these are quite bulky. I think that is just because they wanted to accommodate a spring-loaded shooter there. So you just pull that back, and it'll shoot out like that. The main, like, the display guns are fine. I think those are, yeah, they're fine. And you do get another interesting sticker. If I take off one of those wings, you can see you have like this like under wing thing, I guess, maybe some like exhaust or like a vent. You get those on both sides of the top, so you have one on here, and then you have one over here underneath there, which I do think is really cool. You also do have some hints of lime green in there, like on the two 1x1s on the back, and then you just have one more right there on the front of the nose, and that just kind of helps it stabilize when it's in landed position or like when it's set down. So I do think that's really cool. You do have some other like details and greebling here with like the ice skates on the main engines, which I do think is a really nice touch. I like the way those look on there. And again, I just love the nose here, like just the curve down. I think they did a great job doing that. I think that looks really nice. I like the main sticker they used there. I think that was really good. I don't think I could think of a way they could do that with bricks and have it look this nice. But I do think this is a really good model. And so there is everything that you get in the Lego set. And for $70, I don't think this is quite worth it. I do think it's a fair price. I don't think it's super overpriced. Nothing compared to what we are getting right now with the August Lego Star Wars sets. I think this is a steal compared to what we're getting with the new August sets. But for $50, I think this is a great deal for this set. This is roughly the size of the like the more downscaled version of Luke's X-wing that we got. I think it was 2021. And like, yeah, these are like relatively the same scale in terms of like length and everything in scale. So I do think putting that into perspective, which was also I think around $50 if I'm not mistaken, this is a pretty good price. You're getting 3 new exclusive minifigures, 4 if you count the Astromech Droid, a really solid build of a set that we haven't gotten, and I think it's been 15 years since then. So I think this is a really good set for $50. If you find this for $50 or even lower, I would go ahead and get this set. I really can't think of anything wrong about it. Maybe just like the nose being one stud longer. I think that maybe would be better, but that's just kind of because I'm looking at it from the side angle. But I do think this is a really good Lego Star Wars set, and I would recommend it to people, especially if you're a big fan of the Clone Wars or the prequel era. I think this is a must-have. I'm not even a huge fan of the ARC-170, honestly, but I do like the way this looks. I think it's kind of winning me over in terms of like the size and the scale. But that's all I really have to say about this one. Let me know what you guys think about this set in the comments down below, if you think the price is worth it, if you guys think this is a good Lego Star Wars set or not. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a like and subscribing to my channel. And also, come support me on Bricklink. I have a Bricklink store, and it's open for everyone. I got lots of Star Wars stuff on there, lots of just random parts and everything. So yeah, if you guys want to support me and my channel, that is probably the best way to do it. But with all that said, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.